Hi, so today I'm going to be talking about Beasts of the Southern Wild, which was directed and co-written by Benh Zeitlin, and the whole story is set on a Louisiana bayou in an impoverished community, and the whole thing is narrated by Quvenzhané Wallis, who plays Hush Puppy in the film, and through her narration and also elements like costuming, script, and most importantly editing, Zeitlin is able to give the whole film kind of a childlike, otherworldly type feel while also discussing really important issues. So one of my favorite things in the film is how well Zeitlin captures the youthful independence of Hush Puppy through her wardrobe. In the first scene, she's wearing a beat-up tank top, underpants, and rain boots. So we can tell that someone isn't helping her get ready in the morning, as most 6-year-olds have a parent helping them get pants on, a coat to make sure that they can go play outside and stay warm. She doesn't have that, so we can see that this whole thing is kind of her doing it on her own, which adds to the childlike perspective of the whole thing. It helps the audience gather that right away. We later gather this background even more while we see that her father is an alcoholic and dying from a illness, and her mom died giving birth to her. So all of this is described through Hush Puppy's eyes, and there's a lot of nuance in the script as well that creates this childlike version of the world. So this brings me to my favorite scene, which is when Hush Puppy's father has gone missing for a few nights after binge drinking, and then he comes back wearing some kind of a medical robe, and he just kind of brushes her off so she's alone again. She's in her house, she takes out this big old pot, puts it on the stove, and starts throwing a bunch of random stuff in it that doesn't look edible at all. But she's also, while doing this, she has this jersey placed on a chair, and she's talking to it as if it's her mother, and she begins to describe her mother through these stories that her father has told her, saying things like when she walked in her room or when she walked in the kitchen, all the stoves would light up and the water would start to boil, and that when her mother first saw her, she was so happy that her heart became so full that she couldn't take it, which alludes to her dying while giving birth to her. And so we can really tell that all Hush Puppy has of the world is these stories and what she's observed of people. So she's kind of just making up her own inquiries, and Zeitlin is able to weave this in together to create this beautiful script, and it describes everything that's going on through this childlike perspective, and it's a really beautiful and cathartic mix of story and truth, and explains topics like oppression in society and poverty from life on the bayou in such a gentle way that everyone can really get emotional about, and it's beautiful. So Zeitlin is also able to portray Hush Puppy's version of reality through editing, and he does this through taking the stories that she's heard and placing cuts of how she imagines it happened into the scenes. So when she's describing her mother, and you can see this woman walking past the stove, and it lights up, water's boiling, it's great. And it really flows seamlessly together, and it's so beautiful. It's so masterfully done. And this is easily one of the most iconic movies of the 2000s. It's one of my favorite movies, and it's one of a kind in all of its elements, and the costuming, script, and editing, and all together it creates something so beautiful and memorable. It's honestly a classic, and I hope that it is something that people still talk about in years in the future. So with that, thank you so much for watching. I would like to give credit to Fox Searchlight Pictures, Center Reach, and Court 13 Productions, and of course Benh Zeitlin for Beasts of the Southern Wild. Also, my book, Looking at Movies by Barsam and Monahan, which is Norton Text 5th edition. Thank you!